we're back. Slightly later than expected. I ended up doing... I've got nothing. No quests all in my journal. Yes, I ended up playing a little bit of Overwatch. Competitive. And getting very, 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 very frustrated. So, where were we? What were we doing? I can't remember. We are just about to do some more story. We Scions have but one objective: to safeguard the future of Eorzea. Among our gravest concerns are the godlike beings known as the Primals. Long have we striven to find a lasting solution to the threat they pose. I know not what it is you desire for yourself, nor what it was that first brought you to Eorzea, but I firmly believe that the power we possess was given to us for a purpose. Pray consider this when you give me your answer, Demajen. I'm just waiting to hear whether or not you will pledge your support. I will, of course, pledge my support, because otherwise this will... well, basically you can't play any more of the game, which would be a bit daft.
I take it you will help us.
Guess so. Me and my lovely gloves.
I knew you wouldn't let us down. But come, I would introduce you to your friends in the Order. Tell me, does the name Sharlayan ring any bells?
Yep.
It used to be one of Eorzea's 6 city-states, and was situated in the northwest of Aldenard. The Sharlayans were the keepers of wisdom both old and new. Their mastery over magic and ether was unsurpassed, and even the Garleans knew to fear them. Among their number, there were a noble few who devoted their lives to safeguarding the future of Eorzea. When the realm began its descent into chaos, and their countrymen fled for the motherland, they alone chose to remain here. These noble men and women were called the Archons. Those same brave souls stand before you now.
Yep.
The masked woman is Ida, and beside her is Papa Limo.
Shh,
the
spoilers.
two are charged with surveying the Twelveswood.
Hello there. Welcome.
The writing is still a bit meh.
My turn to introduce someone. That there is Thancred.
We've met.
He is our man here in Ul'dah, Jewel of the Desert.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team.
I never doubted that you'd come. If I may, the lovely maiden beside me is named Y'shtola. Limsa Lominsa has the pleasure of being under her care.
Greetings. Last but not least is Urianger, who presides over all affairs within these halls. Pray seek him out whenever you have questions.
Or don't, because he talks in a really annoying voice.
Dawn may banish even the darkest night. The words of a dear friend. I am glad of our meeting.
At the Battle of Carteneau, our leader was taken from us. But we did not stray from our purpose. We sought out Minfilia and others with her talent, and together established the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
Along with the Archons, those blessed with the Echo play a pivotal role in our endeavor to forge a brighter tomorrow for the realm. Oh, I should also introduce you to Tataru, our clerk. She ensures that everything runs smoothly.
We have met.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Oh god, I'm glad they changed her voice actress.
In time, I hope you will come to think of us as family. But without further ado, I would assign you your first task.
Yay.
Urianger, Have the documents arrived from the students of Baldessian?
Aye, my lady. They arrived but recently.
We have received a request for aid from the Immortal Flames. Thancred, would you do the honors?
It would be my pleasure. Some days ago, a crystal caravan registered to Amagina and Sons mineral concern was waylaid and divested of its cargo. But there is more. Within a bell of the robbery, several people were reported missing from the shantytown outside the city.
At a glance, one would assume the involvement of bandits, kidnappers, and coincidence.
Nuh-uh.
Such crimes are hardly uncommon, and the Immortal Flames deal with their like almost every day. However, this time we have reason to believe that a primal is involved.
Aye. The evidence left behind implicates the Emoja, who are known worshippers of Ifrit. If we then consider the objects that were taken, there is no room left for doubt. The crimes were committed in the name of a primal.
That you may better understand the nature of our struggle with the primals, I would have you play the leading role in this investigation. You have my thanks. If there is aught you wish to know, I recommend you speak with Thancred. He is well versed in the affairs of Ulda.
Ever at your service, fair lady.
So yes, it is worth noting that when version 1 of Final Fantasy XIV was critically panned, the old game director resigned, and the new guy, Naoki Yoshida, was brought in to take over, and he basically had 2 years to take the travesty that was version 1 and transform it into something that was playable and profitable for Square Enix. They very quickly realised that their focus on graphics above all, which was a bit of a major complaint about Final Fantasy XIII as well, had taken a bit of a toll on the playability of version 1 of the game. And don't get me wrong, it was very pretty, but it ran terribly even on my PC, which was pretty beastie at the time. So they had these 2 years, and it is fairly evident during those 2 years that a lot of corners had to be cut in order to make the game ready within that 24 months worth of time. There are quite a few inconsistencies in terms of how, for example, names are pronounced. It's pretty clear that a lot of the voice actors never actually got together. Some of the voice acting is pretty low quality. But one of the major issues that I have is that the writing and storytelling isn't great. It's not bad, and it's certainly better than a lot of MMOs, but it's not brilliant. Some of the writing is cringeworthy and cliche, and whilst I appreciate that Final Fantasy as a series has a legacy, and that legacy is to be built upon, and you can't really discount it, there are some things in some ways shoehorned into this story that don't really fit, that don't ring true, and that is not helped by some of the writing and the voice acting that go with it. And because it is such a story-driven game, especially one that came out at roughly, I believe, the same time as Star Wars The Old Republic, which obviously was fully voice acted. A Realm Reborn was not a letdown by any stretch of the imagination, especially compared to the previous version of the game. But there were a few things that rankled me as a writer and a student of the English language, and somebody who's always been fond of storytelling. So yeah, a lot of the voiced cutscenes aren't great. That being said, I was actually reading about this yesterday, because it is well known that up until the end of the 2.0 storyline, the game's paced kind of okay. And then 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3 are a little bit of a drag. You know, the stories are okay, but they're a bit of a drag. And then, I didn't know this, but from 2.4 they actually brought in new writers, I've learned today. And that does explain why from 2.4 onwards the story really does pick up, and it leads into 3.0, Heavensward, the first expansion, much more smoothly. It's also obvious that once you get to Heavensward, not in the lead-up quests unfortunately, but when you get to Heavensward, there is a considerable change in voice actors. I think they must have made enough money for them to bring in individual localization teams for the different regions. So the European English team has got a pretty decent set of voice actors. Just listening to Urianger there, it being the first time I've actually heard him speak in a good couple of years, really. I have a feeling it might actually be the same voice actor, but they've made him do a bit more work, shall we say. So we will notice an improvement in the quality of voice acting as we go through, but not for a good while, unfortunately. Ready to begin, are we? That's the spirit. Yeah, it is kind of awkward when actually some of my voice acting is better than the actual paid voice actors, which is not to blow my own trumpet. It is more to diss the people that they got to do originally, because it is just flat. I do have a reasonable amount of experience at, reading stories and reading aloud, because I'm an English teacher and I have to do a lot of it. But yeah, a bit of expression is always nice. So then, your mission is to investigate a crystal robbery and a spate of abductions, crimes which we believe to be connected. Assuming we are correct, it is like that any discoveries we make in relation to one will further our understanding of the other. Now, since the attack on their caravan, our friends at Amagino and Ston's Mineral Concern have doubled security over all their shipments. In light of this, it is my judgment that the abductions should be our priority. According to our preliminary findings, the majority of the missing were last seen in the vicinity of Camp Drybone, so that would seem a fine place to begin. A fellow by the name of Isambard serves as the camp's de facto leader. Pay him a visit and see that he gives us his full cooperation. Another of my issues actually with the writing all the way through the series, not just for 2.0, but all the way through up until the latest patch 4.15, no 4.05 or whatever it is. The slightly archaic localizations, to give it that fantasy-esque or pseudo medieval fantasy feel. I just don't think it's necessary. The orts and the mayhaps and all that, I think it is more distracting than it is for telling stories. Fancy words are great, but not when they detract from the actual storytelling. Words should draw you in, not disconnect you from what is being said. That was advice given to me on my MA for creative writing. And I think that is something that, in trying to create this realistic fantasy world, it's something they've kind of had to stick with now because they can't change the tone so much. They have cut back a little bit on it, but not enough. Aye, I'm Bard. Here to search for the missing folks, I take it. Minfilia sent word that an adventurer fitting your description would be along. She also wants us to be wary of the Amalja. Seems we know who the culprits are at the very least. Now, I bear no official title at this camp, but the people have come to look to me for leadership. You have my word that I'll do all I can to help see the victims safely returned. I don't know whether that's better or not. No. Never mind. Isambard of Camp Dryman is seeking help to solve a mystery of missing persons. You'll notice we're still on level 17 quests. This is actually the last level 17 quest, so we're getting towards the level 20 stuff. Let's get right to it then. Minfilia names the Amalja culprits in all this. You'd do well to investigate them first. Much harm has been levied on these lands by Amalja hands. The flames burn where they might, but the light cannot stay the darkness in all places at all times. There have been brutal murders of callers at the Church of St. Adama Landama, innocents wishing no more than to pay their respects to the dead. The poor souls deserve a proper burial. I'd see to the deed before Mongols catch the scent, but I know not if the Amalja still linger. Would you secure the remains for me, friend? You'll find them on the eastern road. 12 William may even learn something of what the Amalja seek in this area. I keep going to try and mount. Whenever I come to Camp Drybone, it's always raining. It probably isn't, but it always feels like it's raining when I notice it because it's the irony of it. It's called Drybone, and it's pissing it down. Ripe corpses. Delightful. Hold on. Some level 12 enemies. Okay. And now begins a tradition all the way through this game of you picking up and carrying around corpses. They actually go into your inventory as well. Ripe corpse. Now, do I need to... Yes, I take them back to the city first. Well, the camp, not the city. It's good to see you returned. Were you able to secure the remains of our fallen? Yes. With the berries given proper burial to the earth, the souls will find their way across to the other side. You did a noble deed this day, I thank you. Now then, what are the Amalja? Did you see any? Surely such massive monstrosities as they cannot conceal their presence, much less take their quarry unawares. Ah, so there were Amalja remaining after all. I feared as much. The part in the Lowborn disappearing is all but confirmed. But I sense there's more to this than meets the eye. The occasional Amalja raiding party would not account for people going missing in these kinds of numbers. The total's too great, and the questions too many. It didn't surprise me in the least to learn of some other hand in this. But whose? Countless travellers pass through Drybone every day, and even if it were one among them, how would we best discover who may be implicit in these vanishings? What say we turn an eye to the common folk themselves? And maybe among them we find the reason for these vanishings. 12 forbid it be so. There's a merchant by the name of Ungust who was born here in Drybone and grew up in the Golden Bazaar. A rough character, but he knows the people here better than anyone else. I'd wager he's at the inn, quaffing away on the day's earnings. Here, I'll write a note for you to show him, else he's not like to speak to you. Now, this guy should look familiar. Well, God be damned! You're that bloody adventurer who threatened me back in Uldar. What the seven hells do you want with me now? Dear friend, missing people, please help. Yours isn't bad. Folk around here as where as they come. They'll turn tail and run if you so much as pass wind nearby. Played them all for fools and coaxed some hard labour out of them, I did. If anything, they're even more timid than before, what with all the disappearances. You can go and talk to them yourself if you don't believe me. This guy's an arsehole. Ooh, that was very British of me. He's an asshole. Arsehole. Is it posh? Please, miss, just leave me be. I've nothing to say but this. They'll take you or whatever's been feeding off us low folk. What do you want from me? I didn't know anything, I swear. Please don't kill me. Just as I told you, wasn't it? The whole lot of them are terrified. It's been talk of folk getting abducted, but if you ask me, they're simply up and moved on to a better place. This place ain't exactly Costa del Sol, if you know what I'm saying. So he's clearly got no concerns whatsoever for the common folk. But he's not wrong. It's not exactly the nicest of places. Oh, I keep doing that. Welcome back, Demajen. Have you learned anything of importance? I see. I suppose you should have expected as much from Ungust. Well, another thought occurred to me in your absence. The common folk are nothing if not fervent in their religious beliefs. Perhaps if they speak freely to their gods, then the clergy might know something of use. 28. When do I get my next ability? 30, but that's job quests. And a next roll ability at 32. If we would know what the common folk speak of to their gods, we've no better place to ask than at the church. It's a small and humble church, found to the northwest of here. And so long as you're headed there, might I ask you to deliver this embalmed corpse? A morbid request, I'll grant you, but it must be borne to burial, and I trust none more than you to see it done. Seek out a man named Marks. He tends the graves of the Lich Shard. He'll tell you where the body's to be interred. So we're carrying around a corpse. Note, this is not a corpse. Ooh! You don't see rainbows very often in this game. Or at least if you do, you probably don't notice them. But they are there. Right, this is Marks, who is a man of considerable importance. I'm Marks, yes. A body? Of course. There have been so many bodies of late. I apologise, miss. If you seek a place of burial, then there is an empty grave atop the ridge. Take the path and lay him to rest there. See, the rainbow's already gone. Oh, darn. May they all walk in Thal's realm. What? Missing people? I'm afraid I cannot help you. But maybe Sister Urson can. She's been kind to me. Everyone has been so kind. I don't know why, though pardon me. You find Sister Urson within the church walls. Marx is an amnesic. He's suffering from a loss of memory. This is Sister Urson. I hear you've done us the service of burying a fallen soul. Please accept our gratitude and extend it to Isambard when next you see him. You seek knowledge of missing Drybone inhabitants? It is true I am closer to the people than any other of the Order. I confide in them, and they in me. When they wish to speak to their keeper, Thal, I am the medium through which they do. Should I learn anything pertinent, I would be sure to share the information with you. I only wish Marx would be more helpful in the matter. I pray he did nothing to offend. He saw terrible things during the calamity. His scars run deep. Indeed, he seemed now to prefer the company of the dead over the living. While tragic, I fear such behaviour ill befits the Church. I received word not long ago that one of our recent visitors, a man named Thancred, I believe, took offence at his conduct. I must have words with Marx, and soon. So, poor old Marx has had a rough time of it, and we will find out why that is. But I'm not going to spoil it yet. Thank you, Demajen. Burial is no easy thing, even when the departed is a stranger. Were you able to learn aught of the missing folk? You've been keeping yourself rather busy of late, haven't you, Demajen? A pleasure, my dear Isambard. The name is Thancred, and I share a passion with you and our mutual friend here for learning what has become of these missing persons and why. I too spoke with Ungust, more times than I care to count. There seems to be some truth to this notion of the common folk speaking their secrets only to those in service to the gods. Prostration, prayer, penance, abject deeds done behind closed doors away from prying eyes. Who better to take the pious unawares than she who takes confession, the good Sister Urson herself? Urson? She wouldn't. She couldn't. Even the most beautiful roses have thorns, my friend, and you would be wise to keep an eye to this rose. Still, the Lich Keeper, Marx. I'd swear to the 12 I've seen that face elsewhere before. Do do bum 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 bum. Right, level 19 quests. Sister Urson. It cannot be, though she is wont to travel to the Golden Bazaar on her own, and it's not uncommon to see her speaking to the children. But no, It couldn't be she, could it? I grow weary of these suspicions. I know there's one child in particular that she's fond of. Pray seek out the boy, Demajen, and see if you cannot glean something from him about Ursula's activities. Okay, so we're going to go and take a little trip up to the Golden Bazaar, which is up here. A little bit out of the way, and a little bit of a run without a chocobo. Ooh, there's a fate going on up here. Lots of imps. Again, we are massively over-leveled for this, so I'm not going to take part. But this is the Golden Bazaar, which used to be a much nicer area than it currently is. Didn't know there was a chocobo porter there. You can get some quests here. You can also find a merchant. Can't remember what level stuff he sells. 15 to 18. But we're going to go speak to this uncombed urchin. Please help! Sister Ursula went out on all of her own, doesn't come back. She always reads to me right here, about Thal and the Order on the other side. I told her I lost my shiny thing and she went looking for it. But what if the monster outside hurt her? Please find her. You'll notice that the as it gets dark and the stars come out, the actual music changes. All the areas have got two versions of the same theme. One for the daytime, one for the nighttime. Quite the view. And there are some dead men. I do find it interesting that they all cast thunder. Because if you're playing Black Mage, you'll know that thunder is a very different spell to how the enemies use it. Sister Alison. You are the one from the church. Thank goodness you arrived when you did. Seems my gratitude is yours yet again. You spoke with the child? Yes, well, I was able to find his lost trinket. It's a ring given him by his mother before she passed. I'll see it safely back to him. We should be able to run past these things now because we are... Yep, too high level for them to aggro us. Oof. Clicky spacebar. The other nice thing about this zone at night is that the aetheryte strands up there glow. You'll also notice just there something glowing blue. Might come back to that. Yes, the skybox. Ooh, the skybox at night is very nice. It's not super impressive anymore compared to some that you'll see in other games, but especially for the time, I'm stuck on a bell. It was a very nice skybox indeed. Gets better. There are better ones in the game, but it's still quite nice. Sister Orson was attacked outside the Golden Bazaar. Gods forfend. I'll secure a room at the inn for her should she require any rest. Searching for the mementos of orphans. Risking her own well-being in the doing, no less. Certainly not the dastardly deeds Thancred would have us believe. Isambard seems to have a message for you from Thancred. You'll notice if you mouse over things that it actually tells you in the top right hand corner of the tooltip whether you've got any of them. So you can see total 1 means that you've got 1 in your inventory already, just like we've got 2 of those, but we don't have any of those. I'm well glad I've reserved that inn room for Sister Urson. It seems she received greater injuries from her attackers than she initially let on. Thankfully, she's expected to make a full recovery. But now on to the matter at hand. Thancred came looking for you once more. He left word that he'll be waiting at the Amalja encampment to the southeast. I pray the two of you are able to uncover some evidence regarding these disappearances. Quack. You'll notice there is a dungeon down here. This is Halatali. Halatali is a weird one. It's technically an optional dungeon. It's not part of the main story quest at this level, but you do actually need to do it in order to unlock part of the main story quest at a later level, which is kind of weird. That being said, if you want to do the daily roulettes and stuff, it's worth unlocking all the dungeons. Where am I going? I'm going to the bit that's slightly further on. For I'm a big fool. Right, Thancred. Oh, I'm going to keep doing that, aren't I? Ah, there you are, Demajen. So good of you to come. Indeed, I've heard all about good Sister Orson. Isambard said her wounds were serious. It would seem my suspicions about the poor Rose were misplaced. But, false though they were, perhaps my suspicions were not entirely without merit. Whilst following Sister Urson near the Golden Bazaar, a band of Amalja caught my eye. I tracked them as far as this encampment, but, well, let us say that I'd much prefer to keep my distance and remain here. This, of course, brings me to why I requested you, dear Demajen. Would you be so kind as to take a look inside? So he wants us to do the dirty work. These guys might aggro me? Yeah. You'll notice we're not levelling as fast as we did at the start, and that's simply because we've out-leveled things so much that even with the doubled XP, we're not getting a huge amount. But that's fine, because this will mean that we'll catch up. And we're still levelling a lot faster than we would have been normally. So you'll notice we're getting 50 XP. A queer leaflet. Queer just means strange in kind of oldie English. Well, it's not old English actually, it's early modern English, but never mind. Well, did anything tickle your fancy? You were. This leaflet. See the wealth of Nald to the hands of your children. Looks to be some sort of assembly to provide the poor with work. The lettering, though, atrocious, is it not? Those bits about Nalthal seem somewhat less than studied. I find it hard to believe one among the Order penned this. Pray take this to the inn at Camp Drybound. Let's see what Sister Urson makes of it. Sister Ulysson is in the inn. So we best go there. Not there. There. Oh, that's kind of annoying. My saviour comes again. To what do I owe the honour this day? What's this? Blasphemous! Those are not our teachings at all. This was not made by any true brother or sister of the order, of that I can assure you. Come to think of it, the weeks ago the church was plagued by missing garments. Could someone be posing as a priest of the order to deceive the people? Ah, the plot thickens, Demajen. Our culprit pretends to be a priest to lend credence to his deception. There's no doubt an irony in there somewhere. But I suspect we have a worthy adversary on our hands. I shall consider how best to handle this. For now, tell Isambard what we've learned here. Posing as a priest, to think. These troubling notions aside, it's gratifying to finally be able to move this investigation forward. Thank you once again, Demajen. I shall keep my ears and eyes open, now more than ever. See, this is a level 20 piece and it's still not actually better than that. I'm afraid I've not seen any unusual activity, nor have any at this camp given me cause to doubt them. But unless we can identify the culprit, and soon, more innocents will fall victim. Do not despair just yet, my friend. An idea occurs to me. I suspect he's been posing as a priest, using leaflets bearing false promises to lure the poor. Let Demajen and me serve like with like by posing as impoverished souls in need of aid. Hate that word. Ah, I dare to hope this will yield us the answers we seek. It'd be a dangerous undertaking, but you two are more than capable of looking after yourselves. I'm next to useless in a battle, but I can supply the garments for the disguise. These old tunics and slops should serve your needs, as long as you don't mind the smell and the stains. These will serve very well. You have my thanks. Listen, Demajen. So as to lay the foundation for our little ploy, we must make it widely known that more vagrants have arrived at camp and are desperate for coin. To this end, I want you to don the old garments Isambard has left us and beg for work around the camp. Before long, the false priest should catch wind and approach us. Nod. So, we get to put on these delightful weathered garments. Yes, so attractive. And talk to some guys. And you are? Another refugee by the looks of you. The immortal flames neither wit nor coin for your like. Be gone, and see to it you don't make a nuisance of yourself. And I was about to get to the good parts. Looking for work, you say? Sorry, but we don't have any openings. Now get out of here so I can finish my story. I preach the teachings of Ffxiv, the warden. Hast thou come to partake of the honey of her wisdom? Ffxiv is keeper of the sun, and goddess of inquiry. All is laid bare beneath the light of her divine countenance. Open thy heart to this light, needy child, and thou shalt want for naught till the end of days. Next guy's up there. Poke. What is it? God, not again. Look, being poor doesn't give you the right to pester whomsoever you like. Why don't you keep with your own kind out by that muddy pond of yours at Drybone? I can't remember where the fifth one is. Is it in the inn? I think it's in the inn. What? Yeah. Oh my god! Greetings, good madam. Is there aught I might assist you with? Oh, I don't believe there is. I'm afraid our wares are very expensive. Mayhap you should rejoin your fellows out at the pond north of Sandgate. Clues. Clues! Quack. Oh, it's raining again. You have quite a knack for being a nuisance, Demajen. The camp is abuzz with talk of newly arrived vagrants. Though we were unable to attract our wayward transgressor, we were able to learn that the poor have a commune by the pond north of Sandgate to the east of here. The eyes of the authorities do not reach that place. Rather ideal for spiriting away hapless souls. Let's go there, and wait for the kindly priest to come and offer us aid and comfort. Needless to say, you'll need to remain in disguise. Right, 2 seconds. Right. So we're going to keep on in this delightfully sexy outfit. And might make even our way over to the pond. We are dressed to deceive. What's going on over there? Oh, that's the goat fate. That murdered me horribly the first time I saw it. Right, this is the muddy pond. There's Thancred up there. I think we've got to go round. At the level that you're supposed to do the quest, obviously these dogs will aggro you, so it's a little bit of a pain. We, however, are massively overleveled. A fine evening for catching false priests, wouldn't you say? You look absolutely smashing, Demajen. Positively dressed for deception. All that's left then is to wait for our quarry to appear. Do. Oh, you poor unfortunate souls. This is no way for men to live. No way at all. Who are you? What do you want? Be at ease, child, for I mean you no harm. I am a priest of the Order of Nolthal, and I come to offer you aid. This leaflet bears the teachings of Nald. Trust to them, and they will surely set you free from the shackles of penury. I have no idea what penury is. A tempting offer, but I'm afraid I must decline. That's not much of a disguise when you've got that big tattoo on your neck. On account of that atrocious performance, you would make a god's awful actor, Ungust. What? How'd you know? You bastards tricked me. Please, don't hurt me. I was only doing it to protect my people. As that's so, do continue. Very well. I'm a man of the Golden Bazaar, raised there, if not born. Some moons ago, the Amalja raids began. They'd appear sudden as a sandstorm, and plunder and pillage at will. Our defenders couldn't stand against them, few as there were. Everyone lived in fear. I wanted to save my people, but Being a merchant was all I knew, and so I did the only thing a merchant could. I approached the Demajen in hopes of brokering a deal. In return for sparing the Golden Bazaar, they made demands, outrageous ones. Demands? What kind, pray tell? First of all, they wanted the schedule for crystal shipments from the Nanoa mines. For this, I bribed one of the workers to leak me the information. Next, they wanted me to bring them people, so I posed as a priest to lure in the vulnerable and give them over to the Amalja. I didn't have a choice. Protecting one's home is a noble thing, but at the cost of innocence? You could have sought the aid of the immortal flames, yet you didn't. I suspect you are not telling me the full story. What made you sell out your own people? Come on, speak. It's good. What'd you say? The coin was good, I said. I'd sell mole meat for a score of lifetimes and not even see a fraction of what the Amalja pay me. You sacrificed innocence so that you could line your own pockets. Words fail to express the contempt I feel for you. Spare me your contempt. If you want to blame someone for the mess the world's in, you blame yourselves or the gods. Not you again! Were you the one leaking the Immortal Flames patrol routes to the enemy as well? Spit it out. No, I know nothing about that, I swear it. At this stage, I'm rather disinclined to believe out that leaves your mouth. But no matter. There'll be time enough to learn the truth. So, Demajen, be a dear and take word of these developments to Minfilia, would you? I shall prize everything I can out of this filth. The abductees are still somewhere out there. Our foremost priority is to rescue them. There's a lot of taking info to the Waking Sands. Later on in the game, in fact in the patches, I believe they realised that making people do this walk all the time from Horizon to Vesper Bay was not the best design choice. So they changed the headquarters, but that is unfortunately a long ways away. It's not as bad once we get our Chocobo, but we are not there yet, and I've still got to decide which Grand Company I'm going to go for, because you do get to make a choice. You get to decide whether you want to go for the Adders, the Immortal Flames, or the Maelstrom. You can change it. But only once per week, I think, something like that. Not that it makes a huge amount of difference. Especially with this level up buff. I mean, by the time I get the appropriate rank for the items that you can get, I'll have already leveled well past them. That being said, it is reasonable gear for alts. Hi Tataroo, bye Tataroo. Welcome back, Demajen. I'm pleased that you and Thancred have been getting along. I see. You've done well to uncover the truth. My thanks for the report. As Thancred said, we must ascertain where the abducted were taken, and none but the Amalja know the answer. Suffice it to say, they will not willingly part with this information. I fear blood will be spilled before all is said and done. Ooh. Oh no, that's not an upgrade, is it? It's just that we are not wearing our actual gear. Yeah. Okay. Life, Materia and Everything is the next quest, and if I remember correctly, this is actually a little bit of a side quest. Though we seek a peaceful solution to the primal problem, we must need to be ready to fight for our cause. That you might find that you might take to the field suitably prepared, I would have you meet with a goblin acquaintance of mine. His name is Mutamix Bubblypots, and he is a scholar of no small repute. Mutamix is renowned for having introduced a revolutionary method of enhancing equipment to Eorzea. The knowledge of his method was once a closely guarded secret, but thanks to Mutamix and his students, it has now been disseminated to the great benefit of all the realm. It would serve you well to acquire an understanding of the process. For this purpose, I shall lend you a blade. Take it to Mutamix, and bid him use it to demonstrate his craft to you. Mutamix is ever to be found at his camp in central Thanalan, a place known as the Bonfire. Look for the pillar of smoke, and the way will become clear. So this is where we go to learn about the materia system, which is not something that I've done a great deal of dabbling with all the way through the game. It basically enhances your gear with extra stats. So for example, a piece of gear like this has got 2 little green slots available for materia. Unlike materia in, for example, Final Fantasy VII, which is famous for introducing materia in the first place, these don't have spells or anything attached. They are basically just extra stats that offer you a little bit of customization. It's alright. It has its uses. The other thing this does is introduce you to the rather entertaining way that goblins talk. Pshh, who is Uplander come to tent ring of Mutamix Bubblypots? Fighty Tools drinks in airy self. When full of airy self, Fighty Tool changes to Stony Shine. Name of materia. If materia join with other Fighty Tool, then Big Eyes Fighty Tool gains power of airy self. Mutamix is reckoning that Uplander is friend of Minfilia. Yerp. Yes, tongue flaps reach ears of Mutamix with fastness. Minfilia wants Uplander to see power of materia. Uplander brings Fighty Tool to Mutamix, yes? Looks so unimpressed. Fighty Tool is unstrong as eating tool. Make a good teachy show of power of materia. He's dissing the dagger. The materia master. Now, eyes of Uplander point at Fighty Tool, yes. Pshk. Materia join with Fighty Tool. Fighty Tool gains power of materia. Fighty Tool reborn. Here, Uplander take Fighty Tool to Minfilia. Materia, strictly speaking, is a kind of crystal. It's created by reducing equipment into its etheric constituents and then crystallizing them. Not just any old equipment will serve, mind you. It must have sufficient spirit bond, that being a measure of how fully an item has been imbued with its owner's spirit. When you attach a piece of materia to gear, you imbue the host item with its power. That's how Master Mutamix turned that dagger of yours from Smutter's would have struggled to cut a stake into a weapon worth wielding. Uplander wishes to be joiner of materia? Then Uplander best fill braincase with knowings of crafty making. With knowings of crafty making, Uplander can become joiner of materia. If Uplander wants braincase to rattle with knowings of materia, Uplander best trade tongue flaps with learning ones of Mutamix. Yeah, so basically, what would you say if I told you that inanimate objects can possess a soul? They can, believe it or not, although the soul in question is not their own, but that of their owner. Through faithful service, the arms and armour that we use come to hold our spiritual energy. Thus do we form a spirit bond with them. Such items can then be converted into materia, a special kind of crystal that can be attached to gear to enhance its properties. I'm well versed in the ways of materia conversion. If you wish to learn more about the process, it would be my pleasure to teach you. You're ready to commence your learning. Good. As you will have gathered by now, materia is the crystallized form of one's spiritual energy. As this energy is derived from an individual's psyche, a volatile beast at the best of times, a degree of variance is to be expected in its production. In practice, this means that you won't know the exact properties of a stone until you cradle it in your hand. Now, materia won't grant you much of anything on its own. Its power must be tapped, see, and that is achieved by melding it to gear. Know, though, that it takes the deft hands of a craftsman to melt materia. You can always seek others to attach materia on your behalf, but if you'd sooner do it yourself, I recommend you speak with Phobos. Melding is her field of expertise. So, basically, as you use a piece of gear, you'll notice down towards the bottom there's a condition and a spirit bond. If you take something that has a spirit bond of 100%, you will be able to convert it into materia. Let's show you how it works. So what we've got here is our level 8 shield. This will convert the item. And that will give us a piece of, in this case, Savage Might materia. Show you again with the Lantern Shield. And that's given us a piece of Quick Arm materia. Now it used to be that you had to go and find somebody, you know, a real life player that had leveled a crafting class to actually be able to meld materia into these sockets on your gear. These days there are NPCs that will do it for you, as Square Enix realised eventually that it was a little bit of a ball ache. That being said, there are pieces of gear that have extra slots above the normal maximum, and I believe then you do need an actual player in order to get those melded. But as I say, it's really not something that I do a whole lot of, because essentially it's very useful for kind of cutting edge endgame raiding when you just need that extra couple of stat points. There are currently 6 tiers of materia, with grade 6 materia being the one released in Stormblood. It's fairly easy to come by. It didn't used to be. It used to be kind of tricky to make materia or to get materia, but actually the expert dungeons that you can do at level 70 drop grade 6 materia just from enemies. It's not super common, but it's common enough. Ooh, this guy now has a quest for us. This is Nedrick. He's going to give us the quest for Halatali. He's actually a member of the Signs of the Seventh Dawn, and he's related to, there are a few of the Iron Hearts. Hail there, adventurer! I am Nedrick Ironheart, an explorer by trade and a scion by allegiance, and you, my friend, look to me an adventurer in need of a challenge. I happen to know just the place that will offer it to you. Tucked away in a corner of eastern Thanalan lies Halatali, and it's there that you will find all the excitement you crave. The place boasts a storied history. It was built some 100 years past as a training ground for gladiators. The calamity laid ruin to it, though, as it did to most things. Now, Halatali is a shadow of its former self, but in the dark of that shadow lurk wild beasts, both bloodthirsty and beyond count. For one such as yourself, I dare say there's no finer place than Halatali to test your skill and refine your technique. Indeed, I've taken the liberty of passing your name along to the Flames who oversee the place. Should you visit, speak with one Ffxiv near the entryway. He also offers us entry to Aurum Vale and to the Sunken Temple of Kharn, both of which you will need to visit for various reasons. Well, one reason each, to be honest. Aurum Vale is a dungeon that is universally loathed by the player base because it's a little bit harder for its level than what a lot of people are used to. It's not actually hard, you've just got to pay a little bit of attention. But it is the destroyer of pickup groups. Welcome back, Demajen. I trust your visit to the bonfire proved fruitful. Ah, what a remarkable difference a single piece of materia can make. Granted, the skills needed to manipulate the substance are not easily acquired, but one need only look upon the results to realise such efforts are worthwhile. As I'm sure you are aware, the quality of one's equipment can be the difference between victory and defeat. Materia may well give you the edge you need, Demajen, so make it your ally. Now, it's time we discuss the matter of your next mission. Pray speak with me when you are ready to begin. Okay, next up is Lord of the Inferno, which is going to be a goodie. Generally speaking, you can tell if there's going to be a boss fight or if it's a dungeon because it will show you a picture of it. You'll also get the Dawn Risk Guards, which are exactly the same as the Weathered Wrist lists that you now start off the game with, but they've got a higher item level, which will enable you to access certain dungeons that require item levels. Word has arrived from Thancred concerning our ongoing investigation. It appears he was able to extract some information from our friend Ungust, the false priest. He revealed that he's due to meet with the Amalja to discuss their dealings. The Immortal Flames believe that the meeting will present an ideal opportunity to ambush and capture the Amalja responsible for the abductions, and so they mean to have Ungust attend as planned. As the Amalja are anticipated to offer fierce resistance, the Immortal Flames have requested our support. I would have you provide it to them, Demajen. Thancred is presently attending to another matter, but will join you as soon as he is able. Until such time as he does, you will be the Scion's sole representative on the ground. Before he left, he bade me tell you to save some for him. Such is his confidence in you. A confidence I share. When you've made ready, pray take yourself to Camp Drybone and report to the Flame Sergeant leading the mission. May you walk in the light of the crystal. Oh, there he is. Ah, you're Demajen Thornley of the Scions. My thanks for coming, friend. We're stronger for your assistance. Allow me to brief you on our mission. Our objective is to capture Amalja and prize from them the whereabouts of the abductees. The Lizardmen aren't aware that their man Ungust has been exposed. When they come to the rendezvous point to meet the traitor, we'll spring the trap. Owing to the clandestine nature of the mission, we can deploy only a small contingent. Every member must count, and so we requested the aid of the Scions. The rendezvous will take place at the Invisible City. Please make your way there and lie in wait. We stand to learn much and more of the Amalja plot if the mission succeeds, Demajen. Let's make sure it does. The Invisible City is the place up there with all the undead and the imps that we've been to a couple of times before. We're getting pretty close though, ladies and gents, to acquiring our very own chocobo. And actually by the time we get to it, we may also be almost level 30, which is when you can get the ability to not only have a chocobo, but to use your chocobo in combat, open world combat, like we saw that guy doing earlier. And you can level it up and give it special powers, etc, etc, which I shall explain when we get there. This bit used to be annoying because you were of a low enough level for these things to aggro you. Not with this bonus. Right, this is an interesting mission. And I shall explain why in a moment. Is the bait in place? Our man is in position, sir. Good. We make a move as soon as the Amalja appear. Yes, sir. I really like the design for the Amalja. They look beastly. Ah! What is the meaning of this? Wait, something's amiss. Ruh-roh. Hee hee hee. I'm afraid your little ambush ends here. I eluded the Immortal Flame's clutches for moons before finally being caught. Did you not wonder how I managed it? Almost as if someone was feeding information from the inside. Aye, your every movement was known to me ahead of the time. Now, as much as I'd love to chat a while, I have an appointment to keep. They're all yours. So, yeah. Now, you will notice that these guys keep on coming. So, the more you kill, well, basically, it doesn't make any difference. This is one of those unwinnable battles. You can lose if you get KO'd, you fail. But basically, the flame guys are all going to get knocked out, and that will end the mission. So, actually, all I'm doing here is prolonging the agony. But yeah, as soon as that happens, you'll see also Ungus over there. And you'll notice that these guys are level 21. Well, this guy's level 21. But yeah, basically you've just got to hold out. They will kill the Flame Gladiator over there. Well, they won't kill them, they'll knock them out. It might be possible that you can just AFK this, I don't really know. Either way, you do get XP. But yeah, they just keep on coming and keep on coming and keep on coming. Is there no end to them? No. I don't know if it's on a timer or whether it's just until a certain number of foes are defeated, or whether it's until, yeah, see, until you get to a certain place. Put up your weapons or your comrade's a dead man. Behind you! Yeah. So we get put to sleep. Bring her. The rest of you, march. Traitorous scum. Ooh, that was very northern, weren't it? Traitorous scum. Yeah, so we have been put to sleep and kidnapped, and we are now joining the kidnapped folk in Zanrak, which is in southern Thanalan. I fear the Demajen mean to give us to their god as an offering. If I must die, then let me die a soldier's death with steel in hand. Now, if you are not ready, the lizards claim they will soon bring us before you for tempering. You're not seriously considering locking horns with the devil now, are you? If you're not ready for this, you could actually talk to the flame private here and you can get out. Fail. But we are ready for this. So we're ready for this. Yeah, so this is a 4-player instance. It's level 20. There's one boss. It is a pretty straightforward endeavour, if I'm honest. What's this guy? He's a rogue. See if this guy wants to join our group. Because the queue timer for DPS can be quite long. Yes? No? Maybe he's not English. Oh well. So yeah, while we wait for that, I'll show you how to get out of it. So you go down to the flame private. Listen well, these waters feed into the marshes of Drybone. A short swim will see us to freedom. However, if all of us attempt to flee, we're likely to be discovered. You alone must sneak out and assemble a rescue party. Once you've won free, seek out our comrade stationed at Drybone. He'll show you the way back here. May the 12 speed your way. So you can get back into that area if you really want to. There's not a huge amount of points. But yeah, this is where it brings you out to the pond. So you're not stuck there forever. While we wait for the duty finder. Never mind. Lord of the Inferno, hearken to our plea. Lord of the Inferno, deliver us from misery. O mighty Ifrit, Lord of the Inferno, your humble servants beseech you, grace us with your divine presence. The lighting in the primal cutscenes is always really cool. O mighty Ifrit, we bring before you ignorant savages who know not your godhead. If it please you, Lord, scorch their heathen souls with your cleansing flame and mark them as your own. Bloody hells. Bring those two as well. What's going on? This ain't what we agreed. None but servants of Lord Ifrit may behold the rite of summoning. The souls of unbelievers are forfeit. No, spare me, I beg you. Pitiful children of man, by my breath I claim you. Arise once more as my loyal meanings. Feed my flames with your faith, and all who stand against us shall burn. And he's going to breathe on us. And this will temper people, which will break them to Ifrit's will, but none of us. O mighty Ifrit, my one true God. So they are all now tempered and they're basically in thrall to Ifrit. But we? Impossible! By what sorcery do you resist my master's will? Huh? Could it be? Oops. This soul has already been claimed by another, or something along those lines. You'll have to pause the video for that. Forsooth, thy frail mortal frame can serve as vessel to the blessing of but one. Yet I smell not the taint of another upon thee. The truth of thine allegiance waxeth clear. Thou art of the godless blessed's number. The paragons warned of thine abhorrent kind. Thine existence is not to be suffered. So the Ascians have warned about people with the power of the Echo, which is what we are. Right, so this is Ifrit. I forgot for a second there that I was the tank. So basically, as the tank, what you want to do is you want to run straight through Ifrit. You want to spin him round. He will cast that fire breath to start with. So if your DPS are running up, you ideally want to be running on the other side of them, so that they don't get hit by the fire breath as well. But you'll do that a few times. You'll do that, in fact, I think down until about 50%. If you are a DPS or a healer, he does a couple of things that you need to watch out for. He does that eruption ability, which puts kind of cracks on the floor. You don't want to stand in that because it will burst about the ground. And he does that Vulcan Blast knockback thing. There's eruption in the background. And you'll see it explodes upwards like that. When he gets down to 50%, he will summon a nail. We'll say that. And from the sky, an infernal nail will spawn. There we go. Then he will limit break, doing his ultimate move, just like in any other Final Fantasy game. He'll continue to do eruption. He'll also, I think, if it gets to it, yeah, do this Radiant Plume. It'll summon 4 things in the centre, and then it'll summon a ring around the outside. So a little bit of movement involved, but you do get reasonable amount of time to move around it. He is stunnable, and you can actually stun him out of his eruption cast. But he builds up immunity fairly quickly. It is not generally worth stunning him out of Radiant Plume. There's another way, yes. And you'll see that on the ground here, there is a fire aspected crystal to join the, is it water aspected one that we've already got right from the start of the game. And this will give us our second visit to this ethereal realm and this little cutscene. So there's the water one that we've already got, and this is the fire one. So these are the blessings of light. Pray forgive my lateness. I was delayed by a congregation of Amalja zealots. I swear each seemed more evangelical than the last. Persistent lot. Ugh. Phew. And see, from the Bloodsworn wasted no time extracting the captives, no less than I'd expect from the Flame General's men. Handpicked men. As for these two, it is fair to say their hardships have only just begun. They have much to answer for. I feel I owe you an apology, Demajen. Had I known this mission would prove so dangerous, I'd never left you to face it alone. You've been given a veritable baptism of fire. Ha ha. Nah. But let us continue this conversation in more agreeable surrounds. Camp Drybone, shall we say? This way, sir. Do. But first... So, that was the mighty Ffxiv. And what a disappointment he was. The readings are nowhere near what I'd anticipated, even taking Uldan interference into account. You should know better than to rely upon 5-year-old data left by the 7th Legion. Nor can we expect any form of support from the motherland given the troubles at court. We have only ourselves to rely upon. Ever the pessimist, my dear Livia. Promise me you'll never change. You've wasted enough time here. That meter of yours is too old to give any reading worth a damn. Not that there was aught worth a damn for it to read, but I take your point. I suppose we must content ourselves with the knowledge that we've achieved our primary objective. Yet I find that I'm troubled by that adventurer's unexpected show of strength. Could such a foe prove a hindrance to our plans? Perhaps, but that is a consideration for another time. Oop. Fail to do as my lord commands, and I will spare him the trouble of punishing you. With allies like that, beware a woman in love. I shall need to be on my best behaviour. Right, one thing that Square learned from 2.0 is that having long cutscenes before and at the end of the fight is quite awkward because the timer still counts down. So what they did was they had a very short cutscene at the start and they'd have the victory screen, and then after everybody had left and you click exit, then they would give you the cutscene. Which was a much better way of doing it, and again there are a few weird design decisions in this game. There's quite a lot of them actually, but you know, no biggie. It just saves the other members of your party waiting, because obviously you don't really want to be skipping the story cutscenes on your very first time through the game. Especially if you care about the story. This does port you back to Drybone. Yeah. There you are, Demajen. Come, rest a while. You will have no better opportunity. After witnessing their god's ignominious defeat, the Demajen will be less inclined to risk our wrath for a time, at least. Now, where were we? Oh yes, I was in the process of apologising. I do hope you can forgive me. I arrived too late to be of any use to you or the abductees. They may be whole of body, but the same cannot be said of their minds, for once a man is tempered. Ah, but it ill suits me to dwell on the negatives. Amidst all our misfortunes, there is still reason to rejoice. Ifrit is slain by your hand, no less. Yeah, so tempered is what the primals are capable of doing. They basically make you their slaves, and once they do it, even if they are killed or dispersed, really, afterwards, it's permanent. It permanently affects the mind of the tempered, and each type of primal technically has a different term for tempering, or at least that was the idea. So you're tempered by flame, and it changes depending on ice or lightning or water. But I think they stuck with tempering throughout because they couldn't think of a better term for each element, something like that. That is the deed of no ordinary individual, Demajen. Demajen? Can't even pronounce my own name right. Demajen. Not that I ever thought you were ordinary. On the contrary, I've long suspected that you have the potential to shape the fate of this realm. What can I say? My fine eye for talent remains undimmed. Minfilia will be proud beyond all reckoning when she hears of your deeds. I trust you shan't object to my bearing the tidings to her. That way I can claim to have contributed something to this mission. You, meanwhile, have earned yourself a rest. Take some time to relax and return to the waking sands when you are good and ready. We can discuss matters in more detail then. Just don't take too long, will you? The realm's problems won't solve themselves. We will go and talk to Minfilia in a moment, but first we're going to go and do what we were on our way to do previously, which was speak with Ffxiv at Halatali. Do 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 do. Ba 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 ba. Do 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 do. There's still a smith here. Can't remember what level the smiths actually go up to. If it's the halls of Halatali, look, you need seek no further. Permit me to tell you something of the place. The name comes from an ancient tongue, Halatali meaning the land of many shadows. It was here that our distant ancestors first settled and... You've not come all this way for a lesson in history. Shh! Listen. Do you not hear the howls and growls? Do you not feel how they shake the very earth beneath you? Those sounds are the work of no mind, my friend. No wind, rather, my friend, nor that rumbling the doing of any shadows. Those are the calls of Halatali, for now the beasts once kept for the Colosseum lurk here. And these are no gentle beasts broken by the hand of men. No, there are those within that even the might of the immortal flames cannot tame. From the look of you, you must be Demajen. I have received word from Nedrick you might be along. By his recommendation, I grant you leave to enter freely. I only pray that you're able to find your way out. And that opens up Halatali in the duty finder. Halatali now accessible. Guess where we're going? Yes, indeed. To Horizon. Can we take a chocobo to Vesper Bay? We can. Okay. I don't think you used to be able to do this. But either way, it's certainly faster than running. So, we learn a bit more about the primals. We've fought Ifrit there. We won't find out about the next one, which will be Titan, for quite some time yet. I believe it's the mid-30s, 34 or something like that. So there is a good chunk of other stuff to do in the meantime. There's a few dungeons. Including one of my favourite ones, which is Hawk Manor. And Brayflox's Long Stop. Yeah, there's quite a lot to do before the next primal battle, including joining a grand company, which is going to be our next thing, because we can't get our own chocobo until we have chosen a grand company. I feel sorry for Tatu. She just has to sit out there all the time. Ah, the triumphant hero returns. Thancred told us the news upon his arrival. He is presently in the Solar, giving a full report to Lady Minfilia. You should join them at once. Lady Minfilia is most eager to see you. My late arrival nearly cost Demajen a life. I wasn't there when the Amalja took her prisoner. And I wasn't there when they served her to Ifrit. Yes, by some miracle she survived. But that does not excuse the fact that she should never have had to face such dangers alone. I failed her utterly. Just as I'm failing you all. He's having a crisis of faith. What's done is done, Thancred. You can ill blame yourself for every... Hi! Demajen! It's so good to see you again. Impeccable timing, my friend. I had just finished regaling Minfilia with your heroic exploits. Thancred has told me everything. You've done well to return to us. The perils we faced were undeniably great, yet a part of me believes that I had no cause to fear, and now we can put paid to our long investigation. As we suspected, the Amalja undertook both the robbery and the abductions with the aim of summoning their primal Ifrit. Nor is this tale limited to Uldar. Similar incidents have been rife in both Limsa and Gridania of late. I dare say you've been curious as to how these crimes are linked to the primals. Permit me to explain. Having manifested in the physical realm, primals must consume ether if they are to maintain their presence here, and the stronger they become, the more ether they require. Now, ether exists throughout creation. It flows through all life and permeates the very air that we breathe. Alas, this alone will not suffice to sustain the likes of Ifrit. Nay, he and his kind require a more concentrated source of ether. Crystals. Because it's a Final Fantasy game. It is for this reason that incidents involving crystals can often be traced back to a primal. Which leaves us with the why of the abductions. To understand this, you must first understand how primals are born. When all is well with the world, primals possess no physical form. The essence is dispersed across the great river of ether, the life stream. However, when the world is plunged into chaos, those who worship the primals cry out to their gods for deliverance from suffering. These cries serve as a beacon towards which a primal's essence is irresistibly drawn. It is this coming together, or etheric coalescence, which grants the being's physical form. Once born, a primal gains strength from its followers' worship. The more numerous and fervent they are, the more powerful the god becomes. But the primals are seldom satisfied with such reverence as their adherents freely give, and in order to gain more power, they do not scruple to create followers. They do this by tempering mortals, a process to which you yourself were subjected. Yet, even as Ifrit took your comrades in his thrall, you alone remain unaffected. This is thanks to the power you possess, the Echo. We know not the why of it, but those blessed with the Echo are immune to primal influence. It is as though a greater power protects us. When first you came to us, I told you that the Echo would be instrumental in dealing with the primal threat. I trust you now begin to see why. The recent incidents also share a common trait: meticulous planning. Such elaborate designs are a new development, and one which fills me with an unshakable sense of foreboding. While I share your concern, my presiding feeling is one of relief at your safe return. The immortal flames assure me they will deal with the aftermath, so you need not concern yourself with that. We may rest easy for a time. I suggest you take full advantage of the respite, Demajen. You may be sure it won't last long. Once the people learn the identity of the hero who filled Ffxiv, I fear you'll have nary a moment to yourself. Whether she intended to or no, Minfilia neglected to tell you something. Something I think you would be best you heard from one of us. It concerns the tempered abductees that were rescued. I'm sorry to report that they are all to be put to death, the flames with who you imprisoned included. Needless to say, this information must not be made known to the public. I swear to you that we would not do this if there were any other recourse, but once a man is tempered, he is tempered for life. His very existence lends strength to the primal who we cannot choose but worship. And so we sign to continue our fight that no more innocents need be sacrificed. I hope that you will continue to stand with us. But I should be going. I must offer my apologies to the Flame General for the losses his people suffered. Till next time. Gods forgive me. How many more lives? Louisvar would never have allowed this to happen. I have to do better. I have to be stronger. Harder, better, faster, stronger. So that is, to a certain extent, the end of the second act, I suppose. Not that this is a 3-act story by any means. But that is the kind of first experience we have with the Primal. It's our first step on the road to becoming a true hero, and as you can see from the next story quest, we are now going to start gaining a little bit more renown. But before we do that, I'm going to go and make a sandwich. Nom 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 nom. Right, yes, as I'm sure you can see, it is 3:54 in the morning. That's fine, because it's the school holidays. I don't need to get up for work tomorrow. So let us continue. Minfilia is wearing a wry smile. Joy. Might it have something to do with your newfound fame? I wonder. Until not so very long ago, you were but one of many adventurers seeking to make their way in Eorzea. But for your character and courage, you were raised to the esteemed post of envoy. Thereafter you travel the realm, aiding those in need without thought of reward, confirming to Thancred that the Signs would benefit from your aid. And no sooner had you joined us than you personally bested the primal Ifrit. You have achieved a great deal in a short time and won fame in doing so. Alas, fame does not come without a price, as you will soon discover. We have guests, Demajen. Or rather, you have guests. Beg pardons? Ah, Lady Minfilia. Radiant as always. I am given to understand that the Science of the Seventh Dawn have but recently welcomed a new hero into their midst. I'm here on behalf of the Maelstrom, Grand Company Linsa Leminster, to offer said hero a place of honour within our ranks. As you can see, Demajen, your recent exploits have garnered you the attentions of the Grand Companies of Eorzea. Each organisation would have a Fitzbane for its own. To this end, all three have sent officers to court you. They would not ordinarily go to such lengths to enlist a new recruit, but that they have is evidence of their high regard for you. I find myself wondering how word of Demajen's deeds spread so quickly, that the immortal fame should know of her triumph is to be expected, but what of the other grand companies? Tataru? Eep. Your reputation precedes your mistress, Thornley. 'Tis no ordinary woman who can face a primal and emerge the victor. The Order of the Twin Adder has need of valiant women such as you. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us ensure that peace ever reigns over the Twellswood. What a pleasure it is to finally meet you, Mistress Thornley. My comrades speak of you in the most glowing terms. Why, even before you aided us against the Amalda and their dread primal, yours was already a respected name in Uldar. Our people know you and love you well. This bit changes depending on which city-state you started in. A woman of your talent belongs with the immortal flames. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future for Uldar. The Admiral was not exaggerating when she said you have the look of a hero. Full often does she speak of your friend. It's only natural that we should want you for the Maelstrom. Join your strength to ours, and together let us see the grand vessel Alimsa Leminster to the shores of glory. Very well. Though I'm quite sure you need no reminding, mayhap a brief summary of the situation will help to clarify your thoughts on this matter. As you know, the Grand Company is all-encompassing organisation empowered to call upon the martial, economic and technological resources of their respective city-states in times of strife. There are presently 3 such organisations in Eorzea: the Maelstrom of Limsa, the Order of the Twinada of Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Uldar. Serving a Grand Company means serving the nation to which it belongs. You will be charged with its defence and tasked with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you will be furnished with various rewards, some of which may well prove useful to you in your other endeavours. If you are agonising over which of the Grand Companies best deserve your loyalty, be at ease. The commitment you make this day will not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your allegiance at a later date, you are entitled to do so. And yet, I can see that it is no small choice you face. Ah, a thought occurs to me. You will of course recall that the 3 city-states are planning to hold remembrance services. Well, as part of the proceedings, I am given to understand that the leader of each Grand Company will deliver an address. Hearing these addresses ought to help you make an informed decision. What say you, my dear officers? A fine suggestion. You are as wise as you are beautiful, my lady. Very well. And Demajen hear our leader speak, then return here with a decision. To be brutally honest, the actual choice really doesn't make a difference. I know a lot of people decided based on the colour of the uniforms. I know full well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed and are not best suited to the discipline of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a Grand Company nonetheless. While the promise of reward is enticing in itself, it is not the only benefit. You are possessed of great power, Demajen, and with it you are capable of doing untold good. Yet know that great power is wont to attract attention, not all of it friendly. It also, of course, gives you great responsibility. There will be those who wish you ill, and you must needs be on the lookout for them. Yet, however vigilant you are but one woman. In the midst of a Grand Company, however, you will be one woman amongst many, a friend amongst friends. Your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organisation need not mean leaving another. I hope that we can continue to rely upon your aid. The 12 know that we will have need of it in the days ahead. The Grand Companies seek to protect their own nations. We Scions, on the other hand, seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole. Similar, yet not quite the same. Now then, I expect that you will be afield more often in the future. As such, I would have you carry this link pearl with you at all times. It would allow us to stay in touch regardless of location. Eorzea is changing, Demajen, and you have the power to help shape it anew. None can say what the morrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there is naught we cannot achieve. Now it is time you made ready for your journey. Before you depart, be sure to speak to Tataru. She will apprise you as to where and when the remembrance services are due to take place. So, there we have it, another of the slightly long-winded cutscenes. And now we will go and Choose a Grand Company. Tataroo, tell us stuff. I'm sorry about all the attention you get in Demajen. I might have sung your praises a little too loudly and often to a few too many people. Next time I'll be sure to hold my tongue, literally, if necessary. Anyway, I expect you want to know where and when the remembrance services are taking place. If all goes to plan, Gridania's first company, the Order of the Twin Adder, will hold the first of the 3 services, and Elder Seer Kani Senna will deliver her address at Miketo's amphitheatre. I should probably mention at this point that due to the organisational challenges involved in assembling all of the involved parties, it's possible that the order of the services might change. So there's not much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first port of call. Next you'll need to go to Uldar, where Flame General Urban Aldin will be addressing the masses at the Royal Promenade. Oh, and it's rumoured there's going to be a special guest. How exciting! Last, but not least, you must make your way to the State Room in Limsa, where Maelstrom Chief Admiral Merlin Bluthson will be giving her address. The room is accessible via the Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentries, Anthiel, and they'll admit you. Got all that? Well, off you go then. I hope you find the remembrance services suitably educational. I suggest visiting the city-states in my prescribed order, though with your record of impeccable timing and luck, the schedule may well change in favour of your preferred travel plans. Farewell. In other words, what this actually means is that we can go to them in any order we like, because we will be there just in time. But as it happens, I am going to do them in order. And I should probably at some point acquire the Ethernet shards. This one over here for the amphitheatre is a reasonably important one. You tend to come back here a fair few times. The other one of reasonable importance is this one here, which is the Leatherworkers Guild, which is especially important if you want to be a leatherworker, but it's also important because it is closest to the market boards and stuff. So if you're in Gridania and you want to go to the markets, that's those up there, and this Ethernet shard will allow you easy access to those. Bum, bum, bum. It should be noted that even when you gain access to Chocobo, you cannot ride them in the city. This one is for the Lancers Guild, which is useful for a couple of reasons. A little bit later in the game, because you can access the pier here, which will take you over to the East Shroud, which is of some use at various points in the storyline. Go on, Nanamo, keep up. Now you might be thinking, why didn't I just port back? Well, as it happens, I want to speak to Parnell. Because if you remember, a little while back, we got access to retainers. Ooh, what have I got? Have I got anything exciting? New elf? Zardoz? Grace. Mithrazu. Godbert. Ooh, that looks like let's try that again. No. Okay, so for your retainer, you can basically customize them as you would a brand new character. So I am going to make let's get them outside so we can actually see what's going on. Right, I'm going to make a Midlander. And I'm going to customize her to look like, if I can find the file, the NPC in the Red Mage story quest, because I thought she was cute. And that is my general reasoning behind a lot of things in this game. I do it because they are cute. So, height doesn't really matter. Muscle tone doesn't really matter. Bust size doesn't really matter too much. Skin colour, that'll do. Hairstyle, right. Aria has... is it that one? Yes. She has got kind of a sandy blonde hair. Something like that, I think. Pretty certain it's that face. Something like that jaw. Those eyes. Large irises. Her eyes were bluish. Something like that. Annoying though, I've only got a picture of her from about this angle, which really doesn't help. Let's change the bits I can do first. It's got a slightly narrower mouth than that. Oops. Lip colour is kind of like that. What actually is that? Eyeshadow. She's got no other facial features that I can remember. No tattoos. No face paint, but I'm going to give her some dark one. And yeah, that's entertaining. I think her hair should be a bit blonder than that. Better. Yeah, annoyingly, the screenshot that I took of Arya actually isn't very good. But anyway, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Yeah, go on. Oh. I forgot that you've actually got to choose a name. That'll do. So we can now summon Arya. And she can do a variety of things, including keeping all of this tats, which I have no real desire to cart around with me. At some point you can actually give her other stuff to do. But we're not going to worry too much about that yet because we've already wasted a chunk of time. So this is Miketo's amphitheatre.
I lost my son to the calamity.
The 3 Seed Seers are all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body. Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the Green Wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place beneath the boughs. So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hyur and the Elysian settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seedseer. The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hyur and Elysian. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood. When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness. And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat. "5 years ago, the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Cartano. It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity. The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed, each waking hour a struggle to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, the Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease, and prey upon the vulnerable. So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk the high roads without fear.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood. Let none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be united. Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs. For serenity, purity, and sanctity. We must think of the children!
Woods will be done!
It's up to us to protect the forest! For the elementals!
If you'll permit me, Alphino. And my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
The Gridanians are unfortunate enough to have to contend with 2 beast tribes. The Ixel are unquestionably the most troublesome, being of a naturally warlike disposition and want to summon their bloodthirsty primal Garuda. The Sylphs, by contrast, are peaceful in nature, being mischievous rather than malevolent, and have long been on friendly terms with the Gridanians, until recently at least. Alas, they have grown aloof, a change observed at roughly the time they summoned the primal Ramu. The Gridanians have no love for war, and they consider open conflict a last resort. Though they clash with the Ixal ever more regularly, you may be assured that they do so in self-defence. As for the Sylphs, they are as yet bound by a peace treaty, though one wonders how long it will be before it is broken. The Charleswood was grievously wounded during the calamity, leaving Gridania vulnerable to attack. The people are hopeful that restoring the wood and thereby the power of the elementals will put an end to their woes. Yet how long will that take? Centuries, I'd wager. Meanwhile, the Ixal will continue their incursions, spurred on by Garuda and her insatiable appetite for destruction. Whether the Gridanians like it or not, sooner or later it will come to all-out war, and when it does, the Order of the Twin Adder will need all the help it can muster. How valuable might the aid of a capable adventure prove to them then? So that's our first introduction to Alphino and Alize. Alphino gets... Alphino is not my favourite character in the game, let's put it that way. He is irritating and in many places terribly voice acted. And he's very important to the story, and he swings in terms of personality a little bit too much for my liking. He's arrogant and he's full of himself, and that does lead to some interesting character development in places. But yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all of Alphino. And if any of you have watched my main story quest for Stormblood video, yeah, it is kind of clear that I'm not his biggest fan. I take the piss out of him a lot. Alize, on the other hand, gets a very little play in the main story. She does, however, take centre stage in the Binding Coil of Bahamut raid, which I have never done. Excuse me. But I know she gets centre stage because I've watched all the cutscenes to go with it. It's possible that I will actually play it on this playthrough, just because. It's also possible I'll do a separate series with my main character. It is yet to be seen exactly how far I will get with this, because it's going to be a long series. As I say, there are hundreds of hours worth of story quest. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the Ul'Dan version of the Remembrance Service.
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanamo herself!
And Roban as well!
Remember what I was saying about the iffy voice acting?
Hark, you souls of flame! drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore. Hurrah! Rauban! Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ul dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold. Where by the grace and glory of Nalthal have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not. And now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden, and enthralled. Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous? I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, the Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Ul'dah stands to fall. Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth. In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you! Line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Ul'dah, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Ul'dah. As Ul'dah prospers, so shall her people. Ya for Ul'dah!
Together we are one.
Your Grace.
Rauban? People of Ul'dah, I, Nanamo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you. Much has been made of the wealth of Ul'dah. Yet those who measure that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I I bid you raise aloft the torch of Uldar, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and fortune, stride fearless into the Inferno, for we are, by fire, reborn! Forsooth?
The time is now!
I fancy meeting you again.
The Uldans have a long history of conflict with the Amalja, the beast tribe that worships the primal Ifrit. Judging by your look of distaste, I take it you've encountered them. The Uldans do not shy from confrontation. If aught threatens their precious prosperity, they will seek to crush it. So have they dealt with Ifrit thus far, smothering his frames each time he is stoked to life. Yet he is but one of several problems. Though they have been quiet these past 5 years, the Garleans have not gone away. Meanwhile, refugees continue to arrive in droves, and Uldar has no clear policy on how to deal with them. After all, not even the Sultanate's coffers are bottomless, and even assuming they had the coin, resources will ever be finite. Which brings me back to the subject of Ifrit. It has been observed that the Amalja are summoning him with ever-increasing frequency. Every time they do so, the Uldans send their forces to smite the primal, and though they invariably succeed, each victory is bought with blood. It is a war of attrition, which they cannot well sustain. Small wonder, then, that the Immortal Flames are eager to recruit more members. At such a desperate hour, an adventurer of your experience would be a most welcome addition to their ranks. For their sake, I hope that the Flame General's words struck a chord with you. You'll notice Alize doesn't say much of anything during these little scenes. I like a good chunk of that speech, but generally speaking, I don't like it enough to work for the Immortal Flames. Because let's be honest, pirates, who are you? Several adventurers are having difficulty summoning their retainers. Should you wish to offer your assistance, you will find these troubled souls in Linsa, Gridania and Uldar. The rewards will be the same regardless of who you help, so do not hesitate to aid the adventurer of your choice. Oh, this is how you get the ventures system going. I haven't done this in years. Bloody hells, I ain't got time for this. Friend, you look like the helpful sort. Mind handling a meddlesome task for a man in need? Me retainer, he reckoned he had what it took to go on an adventure in Skull Valley with naught more than what I gave him. But now the little bugger's up and vanished. Probably got eaten by a dodo or some such. Anyway, if you happen to come across his remains in Western Lenosha, I'd like you to inform the local watch they can set about notifying his kin. So ventures are a system where you can take your retainer, in my case Arya, and send them on little missions. It's a cool little thing. They take 18 hours or so, I think it is, and they get XP and they can level up and they can get rewards and stuff. The rewards tend to be more Allagan pieces and often something else to go with them. They're a fun little system. I like ventures. Here to attend the Remembrance Service. Be quick, the Admiral's due to give her address at any moment. Here we go again.
The Garleans are another matter altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride. "700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the Mother of Oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond.
Ah, yeah, ah! Ha-ha, yeah, ha!
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The crimson field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the black longship represents a pirate vessel.
When the Garlean Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom standard, and our grand company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilfir's bloody executioners, and together we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Carteneau. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you, no army ever fought harder or with more courage, yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell. May their souls be returned to the sea.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom. Much as the beast tribes have. Small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
It has been 5 long years since the calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not do so again? Yet there are those who would see this ship of ours sink beneath the waves of the restless Rotano. The Sahagin creep ashore seeking blood for their accursed god.
Those fishback
The
bastards!
Sahagin have risen?
While the mines of Ogomoro spew forth kobolds who push ever south, despoiling our lands as they go. These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull. And behind them swells the grim tide of the Garlean Empire. Even now, the curs fly their flags within our borders. Doubt not, but that they will be upon us ere long. We are well nigh surrounded. Yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their crewmates than our cannons against our foes. How can we hope to repel our many enemies when mutiny breeds below deck? There is but one course left to us. One bearing that will bring us victory over the beast hordes and the Empire both, and see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the Calamity has reopened twixt Pirate and Maelstrom, and stand fast with our adventurer brothers against the coming tempest. Mark ye well, a crew without unity is no crew at all. 'Tis but a mass of drowned men. To me, then, brothers and sisters of the sea, gather beneath the undying crimson standard and pledge me your strength, your skill, your wisdom. And with the guidance of the navigator, this great vessel of ours shall ride the waves till sea swallows all.
Long live the Admiral!
Admiral Melvin!
Gather the lads!
Oh, where's me cutlass?
I'll follow ye to the seven hells, Admiral!
Fancy meeting you again.
I'd rather not fancy meeting you again, Alpha Nerd, but, you know, plot. As the Admiral mentioned in her address, Limsa is plagued by two beast tribes. The first are the fish-like Sahagin, worshippers of the primal Leviathan. The second are the kobolds, who dwell beneath the earth and take the primal Titan for their god. As if the beast tribe's presence weren't troublesome enough, the Guardians have also chosen to erect a fortress right in the Laminson's backyard. That is to say naught of internal strife. As a nation of pirates, there's no end to the blood feud between the various factions, and while they fight amongst themselves, the Guardians whet their blades and watch. If the Laminsons are to have any hope of withstanding the Empire, they must first resolve their own affairs. Differences must be set aside, and the primal threat dealt with once and for all. To this end, I expect they will soon take decisive action against the beast tribes. Mark my words, the Maelstrom Standard will be drenched a deeper shade of crimson before long. That capable adventurer like you would be a valuable addition to their crew is beyond question. Hello? Demajen, this is Minfilia. You are well, I hope. Would I be correct in thinking that the final remembrance service is now concluded? A moment ago, you say? What a coincidence. Yes. Jesting aside, I trust you remember our guests from the Grand Companies? Well, delighted though we are to have them here at the Waking Sands, it would not do to keep them in suspense any longer than necessary. In short, hurry back. Just going to quickly do this whilst we are here. So, yes, we now need to choose the Grand Company that we are going to affiliate ourselves with. I am going to go with Limsa because pirates, and also because I like, generally speaking, the writing for that particular Grand Company a little bit more. It doesn't, as I say, make a huge amount of difference because you're going to be involved with all of them anyway. Clank. Even though I'm obviously a lot higher level than these mobs, you can see that it still takes me a little while to kill them. Let's help this little guy out. Man, that took almost an hour to watch all those cutscenes. Ahem. I don't know what you think you saw, but I assure you that I have everything under control. What? That oaf presumed me to be dead? Who does he think I am? Some wet behind the ears weakling? Could at least have shown some remorse for furnishing me with such poor equipment. Well, speak of the Sahagin. A moment. It's about bloody time. Do I sound dead to you? Fine. But you're buying the first round. Limlane of mercy, I'm not getting paid nearly enough for this work. I hope you treat your retainers with more respect, madam. Anyway, courtesy dictates that I thank you for your intervention. To that end, I ask that you seek out Ffxiv in East Hawker's Alley. Tell her what you did, and I'm sure she'll reward you handsomely. Farewell. Bloop. And also, while we're here, as I know this is adding to the length of this part of the video, and it being 10 to 5, I should probably get off to bed reasonably soon. But I have not reached my objective for the evening. I want a chocobo. Oh. Okay, that's one way of levelling up. These wolves will still aggro. I'm not worried about the wolves. I am after some crabs, which, if I remember correctly, are just over here. If you are too high level for a fate, sometimes the monsters will be able to aggro you still, but you won't be able to attack back because you're too high level. Or sometimes other things will happen. It's a bit of a weird one. But yes, I happen to know that these stone shells were here, and I wanted to complete that. There is actually a second hunting log that you get to do. This one entirely rewards Grand Company seals, which you can't start acquiring until you have joined a Grand Company. It's the other also the reason why I've not done much in the way of fates, because fates also help. With that, they all reward Grand Company seals as well. Which fate's this? Poor Maid's Mess. Is this the one that's actually got curls? I know, this is the one with rats. The curls that we want, the pups, are hidden back here. There's actually a passageway behind this hut. And if you head left here, not right, you'll run into a load of Yarzons if you head right. But if you head left here, there are some curl pups to kill. Now, you might be thinking, well, these enemies, considering they're such a lower level, are starting to take a little while longer to kill. And you would be right in saying so. And that is because... Oops, that's paralysed, kicking in there. That is because we are a tank class, and whilst tank classes have good survivability, especially against open world mobs, they do suffer in the damage department. But once we hit level 30 and we get our chocobo and we can summon them, then things will go a lot easier. And I'll explain the chocobo system when we get to it. You'll notice that I fully resisted paralysis then, because we also build up resistance, just like the enemies do, to crowd control. That's that sorted. Let's sort out this quest in Limsa. Greetings, miss. How may I assist you? Sounds to me like you came along just in time. The last thing we need is another retainer dying during a venture. I gather from your expression you're not familiar with ventures? Quite understandable. Allow me to explain. In cooperation with the Adventurers Guild, we've established a new system through which retainers might be dispatched to procure items for their employers. Should you wish to avail yourself of this additional service, you'll need to pay your retainers in advance with ventures. I speak of these, special scripts issued by Adventurers Guild. Accept them with my compliments. Let me assure you it isn't a complex process. Any retainer can walk you through it. When next you speak with yours, why not raise the subject? And that will unlock with ventures. So to do that, we need to go and hit our summoning bell. You can now send your retainers to field on procurement expeditions known as ventures. However, you need to assign them a class. So, we can now assign her a class. They can't be crafters, but they can be gatherers. You can't assign your retainer a class that you've not yet unlocked. So basically, we don't have access to any of these. And we need to equip her with a sword. We can also equip her with a Helm of Light, which will increase her XP gains. We can equip her with quite a few bits and pieces, actually. There we go. Unfortunately, you can't hide their headgear, which is a bit of a shame. But we can now send her off on ventures. 2 types currently that you can send her on. And so I'm going to send them on a field exploration, which you can see takes 18 hours and costs 2 venture tokens. So they go out and they do stuff and they get gear. You can actually call them back during it, and you can still use them as banks, need be, and you can check how long they're going to be in that. Right, anyway, back to... Oh, no, actually, crap. That was silly of me. I should have just got the boat. Because now I need to run all the way there. But actually, let's get a chocobo. Yes, because it would have been pretty much instantaneous. Silly Demajen. It is worth noting, actually, that whilst ventures don't seem to be particularly interesting or important, you can get some interesting and cool stuff from them. So it is kind of worth doing them. Right. So I'm just eating a cookie. Let's finish this up. Welcome back, Demajen. Were the Grand Company leader's words as illuminating as you'd hoped? Aye, each nation is beset with problems. I trust you see now why your services are in such demand. Would that there were more of you, Demajen. But you must be tired from your journey. Why don't you rest a while and take a moment to reflect on your decision? Once your mind is made up, pray give the Grand Company officers your answer. Meanwhile,
the gods only know what grand company our adventurer friend will keep. The wheels of change are in motion regardless.
Brother, are you certain this course is best?
Whatever do you mean, dear sister?
The so-called remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies. As though the Calamity and Seventh Umbral Era warranted scarcely a mention.
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies. Since you are so observant, mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? None. I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity? No, dear Alisaie, they haven't forgotten these details. They have elected to omit them. Deep are the wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, the task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Companies. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must put the horrors of the Calamity behind us.
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience. There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I mean to find it.
You are most welcome to try. Our paths may differ, but our destination is the same. In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
No, you will not.
I should hope so.
My lady! We are to escort you!
Hope does not come into it. We share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all. The salve will serve not only to close up our present wounds, but prevent old ones from opening anew.
The big problem that I have with Alphino is that kind of smug nature of him. But it is interesting, especially after going through the Stormblood storyline, which features Alisaie a lot more than the Realm Reborn and actually the Heavensward Wanderers. It is very interesting to go back and see kind of the differences in their personalities at the start, and to an extent how far they come in terms of growth. And again, it is a reminder that I'm so glad they changed the voice actors for Heavensward, because the Realm Reborn stuff is just... ugh. Anyway, let us join the Maelstrom. How is the Admiral's speech? But you need not explain. That you stand before me now is answer enough. You've resolved to join the Maelstrom, have you not? Aye. That's the spirit, lass. With allies like you, how much stronger is our crew? Let us brave the seas together, friend. Now the choice is made, it's time to add your name to our rolls. Make your way to Limsa, seek out our Grand Company's headquarters. Maelstrom Command's located on the upper decks. I'll send word to our personnel officer. to expect you. The duties of a Maelstrom soldier can be both arduous and challenging, but I promise you you'll not regret the choice. May your passage be swift and your bearings true. I do keep meaning to do a piratey voice with my amazing voice acting skills. But yeah, I'm about as consistent with that as I am with any others. Just to show you that it is possible, let us take the ferry. Which is up here and round. Isn't it? Yes, it is. Ferry ticketer. 80 gil, which is a damn sight cheaper than the teleport. Although, of course, if you've got free teleports to Horizon, as I suggested, then it is clearly worth going for free. I love those silly pointy hats. You can skip this cutscene. Just like all the travel cutscenes, you can skip them on subsequent trips if you want to. It's not exactly long either way. These big ships are surprisingly manoeuvrable. And dock at quite a speed, to be honest. Yes, so Ethernet shard. This here is the Arcanist's Guild, where you can train to be an Arcanist. Arcanist was the new job for A Realm Reborn, and they were interesting and are still currently the only job that can choose, or rather the only class that can choose at level 30 to become a healer or a DPS, scholar or summoner. It's not mutually exclusive either, you get to level both. Right, so here we're going to go and talk to the Storm Personnel Officer. Hail, adventurer! What business have you at Maelstrom Command? My name is Demajen Thornley. I believe you are expecting me. Demajen Thornley? Aye, our recruitment officer sent word of you coming. It shall be my honour to induct you into the ranks of the Maelstrom. Now, before I can accept your oath, you must be made aware of several... Sir! Why is it private? This had better be important. Sir, we've received a report from a lookout in Lower Lenosha, sir. Imperial forces have fired upon a Highwind Skyward ship. The vessel is in a bad way, sir, and appears to be banking for an emergency landing in Cedarwood. Cedarwood? Damn it, we've no troops available in that area. The bulk of our infantry is bogged down on the coast, skirmishing with the fishbacks. Thornley, this is highly irregular, but I fear your first duty in service to the Maelstrom must need to be unofficial. If our man in Lower Lenosha is correct, the airship will come down and the territory is crawling with Imperial scouts. If there are any survivors, we must reach them before the Garleans do. Make haste to Cedarwood, locate the airship, and if any of its occupants are alive, make sure they come to no further harm. We'll see about swearing you in upon your return. Unfortunately, as you can see, we haven't been to Cedarwood yet. So we've got a little bit of a run. This is where a lot of people come out if they start off as a marauder or a arcanist. They'll head out of this gate. Very similar to how we started off in Thanalan. But we want to be heading up to here. Cool jellyfish mobs. We saw those in Stasha. They do just the same thing. I do like the fact that they glow a little bit in the dark. Got some dodos. We've seen those in guildhests. Goobus we saw in the Hall of the Novice quest. The wind elementals are kind of cool. Mandragoras are very cute. They've used the model straight from FF11, which was also used in FF12, as I discovered the other day when I ran into a load of them. But yeah, it's a bit of a trek up here. There's the crashed airship. And this is an important character. Because these are not actually these are not Garleans. These are Garleans. And this... Hi. An adventurer? What are you doing out here? No, wait, let's find some cover first. So unfit. Maelstrom Command sent you? How do I know you're not an Imperial spy? You don't even have a uniform. I say nothing. Speaking of Maelstrom Command. Be at ease, sir. We are of the Maelstrom. You're a Garland Ironworks engineer, yes? One of our lookouts reported the attack on your craft. We're here to rescue you. You must be Thornley. Good work on reaching our friend here before the Imperials. I do quite like their axe model. I've never seen a craft of this design. It must be Garland's work. Is there no end to the man's treachery? The secrets of Magitech belong in Imperial hands. They are not to be squandered on Eorzean savages. We are taking this craft back to the fortress. Dismantle it if you must, and bring the engineer. Someone must pay for Garland's crimes. Scouting party from Castle Oxidants, I say. Seems they want your ship, engineer. Wedge, you have to help him. That fool of a Lalafell was hiding inside the tiny Bronco. The tiny Bronco? Isn't that the new design people have been whispering about? It's the first airship we've built since the Calamity. The first since Master Garland, well, since he went missing. After years of work, she was finally ready for her first test flights. She was soaring, she really was. those bastards blasted about the sky. You'll notice that it's actually changed to Biggs there, despite the fact that he's not mentioned his name yet. But these are Biggs and Wedge, the classic Final Fantasy characters. Alright, pay attention. We're going to hit these Imperials hard and fast. If they want a souvenir from Eorzea, they can have a knife in the gut, but they're not getting that ship. Oh, and don't forget to save the Lalafell. What say you, Thornley? Ready to give those curs a hide-in? Cue random music. Like a tidal wave, lads. Charge. This quest changes again. It's exactly the same quest, the introduction to Biggs and Wedge. An ambush to arms! But it changes location, depending on which ground company you choose. You'll notice we're sent down to level 24 for this. Ooh, going against my own rules here. I didn't notice the Black Mage. Always kill the Black Mages first in these little quests. Ugh, bound. Right. You can die next. Then the Lancer, and then finally the Decurion, who, as you can probably tell from the shield, is a tank. Same rules apply. Kill off the littler mobs. This guy will actually heal himself. You kind of don't want that to happen. And then you can focus on very difficult to stun that move. I forgot I did that. Come on, dial it. There we go. Duty complete. Biggs! Run, Wedge. Wedge! You shouldn't have stayed with the ship. That was a close one. Too damn close. So, how's your luck anyway? The auxiliary propellers are dead lost, but I think we can wring enough thrust from the main propeller to get us airborne. A few minor modifications and we should be able to fly the tiny Bronco home. We'll stand watch until the ship's ready to take off. The Imperials will come looking for their scouts eventually, but I doubt they'll get here for a good while. Thornley, you're free to return to Maelstrom Command and complete your induction. Ordinarily I'll ask you to stay, but I think we'd all feel better knowing an adventurer of your ability was safely sworn in and ready for the next mission. Rest assured I'll inform Command of the part you played today. I just wanted to say sorry, you know, for calling you an Imperial spy and all that. Got that one wrong, didn't I? Seriously, though, if it hadn't been for you and the Maelstrom lads there, we'd be chained up in a dungeon by now. I'm your dead friend. We both are. Wedge. Yes, thank you. We're very grateful. So, Biggs and Wedge, unlike in other FF games, they are not members of the Imperials that go awry or whatever. They are actually members of the Garland Ironworks. Now, technically, Garland, led by Cid Garland, that's this game, Cid, is a former Imperial noble, in fact. But he's never actually an Imperial in the game. This is the other starter area, and we're just going to go and unlock the aetheryte up there. That looks like a volcano in the background. I don't think it is a volcano. I can't remember, actually. Puggles. Goblins. Bee clouds. Mandragoras. Windy weather. But yes, we'll just attune to Summerford Farms. I seem to recall there are reasons later on in the story to come back here. Now, I find it very much worth setting here as a favoured destination, which means that it is cheaper to travel to it. If you look at the travel menu, you'll notice that it dramatically reduces the cost. So you've got your free one, which again I recommend to be Horizon for most of this part of the game, and then a favoured one to wherever your Grand Company is, because you'll be coming back here a reasonable amount for a variety of reasons. Welcome back, Thornley. I just heard the report. You needn't be concerned about the engineers. They completed their return trip without further Imperial interference. I must admit, I had my doubts at first, but it seems the stories about you are true. I look forward to seeing what else you're capable of, after you're properly inducted into the Maelstrom, of course. Now, speaking of your induction... till sea swallows all. So this is our actual induction into the Grand Company. Let's start afresh, shall we? Yar, pirates, yar. Salute. You are welcome here, Demajen Thornley. That such a well-respected adventurer would choose to join our ranks is most heartening. Before you swear your allegiance to us, however, it's only right that I tell you exactly what it is you'll be joining. A Grand Company is more than simply a collection of soldiers. It's an all-encompassing organisation which draws upon the resources of an entire city-state to form a united military force capable of standing us against the nation's deadliest enemies. We of the Maelstrom are charged with meeting the threats posed by the Primals and the Guardian Empire, and solving the many problems caused by the calamity. Every man and woman who serves under our colours has a role to play in keeping the great warship that's Limsa afloat, and on whatever heading Chief Admiral Merlewood Blurferson sees fit to set. As part of this grand vessel's crew, you'll be expected to take your turn at the oars, for the winds do not look favourable, lass, and strength of arm may be all that sees us safe to port. If I've lost you with talking ship and oar, let me put it another way. A Maelstrom soldier labours till her last breath, fights till her last drop of blood. We give our all in service to this nation, and no less is expected of you. Thornley, it's customary for new recruits to swear an oath of their own choosing upon entering the Maelstrom's ranks. Is there aught you'd like to say? You have my sword, till sea swallows all. And I've no doubt we'll need it. Keep your weapons close to hand, lass. Demajen Thornley, I hereby assign you the rank of Storm Private 3rd Class. You're now officially a soldier of the Maelstrom. Welcome aboard, Private. May you serve Limsa well, till sea swallows all. Yar. That teaches us, dear Lord, teaches us a new emote. Can you hear me, Demajen? This is Minfilia. An officer of the Maelstrom contacted me with news of your enlistment. My congratulations, Private Thornley. I have no doubt that you are eager to make the acquaintance of your new comrades, but I would ask that you pay a visit to your old ones first. Remember that you are now a woman of the storm, you are no less a scion. Pray return to the Waking Sands at your earliest convenience. There are some friends here whom I would very much like you to meet. We shall be waiting. Delivery missions. Right, Grand Companies. You are now a member of a Grand Company and have been assigned a rank, Private 3rd Class. You can check your rank at any time. Yes, in the profile section. And that shows us where we've got to. Which ain't very far. Get paid in company seals, and you can use those seals to buy things. They also need supplies, which are interesting and useful. Right, Commander Ricky suggests you look into having a personal chocobo issued. Woohoo, finally! Well, if it isn't Private Thornley, I must say the tales of your deeds have been an inspiration to the troops. Our duties take us far and wide, and I'll wager you've slogged across quite a few miles of countryside on naught but your own 2 feet. Such a sterling soldier of the Maelstrom deserves her own steed. Let's see about having one issued for you. All you need to do is obtain a Storm Chocobo issuance by exchanging company seals with the Quartermaster. Once you've had this deed, present it to Fragame, and she will see you saddle up on one of our trusty birds. So, we need to get Chocobo issuance. Oh, you only need 200 seals for it now. It used to be a lot more. I'm going to turn in. Oh, we can't yet. Right. So we need to get some company seals. He's the hunt guy. Right, so we need to go and do Need to go and do a couple of fates to get 200 seals. It used to be 2,000 if I remember correctly. Which took quite some time. So let's just hope there are a few fates hanging around. Might as well go and pick up the Aetheryte over in Swift Perch as well while we're here. So this is something they've changed. I don't know when they changed it. But yeah, it definitely needed... It used to be that you needed 2,000 seals, company seals. You can check how many company seals you've got by clicking on the little gill icon, and more things pop up on here. Got 0 out of 10,000. 10,000 is our current maximum. So we're going to go and kill Gluttonous Gertrude. This has synced us down to level 17. Try and avoid the foul stench. That will put you to sleep if I remember correctly. Now, fates scale. And they scale based on the number of people doing fates in a zone. Which can sometimes be a little bit annoying. Guild Wars 2 did this first with its dynamic kind of zone events, and clearly the designers of FF14 version 2 decided that it was a good plan. But Guild Wars 2, their versions of fates, dynamic events or whatever they're called, I can't remember anymore, they scale with the number of people doing that particular one. So the number of people in a very particular area. These don't scale quite so well, if I'm honest. And in zones that are more heavily populated, having the fates scale like that can be a little bit annoying. We are an excellent way to level though. That gives us 69 seals. Meh. It also gave us 5k experience points, which is a lot better than it used to. Right, this one up here is Barometz, who is a Ked Trap mob. One of these. What are they actually called? Are they called Roselings? Oh, either way. This is Barometz. And you'll see we've been synced down to level 15 for this one. But yeah, you just need to do a handful of fights just to get some seals. So we need 200. As you can imagine, getting 2,000 took a little bit longer. And since not many people are doing low level fights anymore, because there are easier ways to level, getting 2,000 seals without help would have taken quite some time. It's one of the things they've sped up. I don't know when they sped it up, but that's their intention behind it without a doubt. You'll notice also that regardless of what level you earn role actions, you always have them available. For example, that one was level 24. Yet despite just being synced down to 15, we've still got it. So that's kind of handy. There's another 57. Takes us up to 126. So fates are a nice way to level, assuming there aren't too many other people in the zone doing them. If there are loads of people, then the mobs scale up in hit points and it becomes more dangerous and a little bit harder. And you don't really want that. You want them to be nice and fast so that you can get a good chunk of them done. Let's see if I can show you that in practice as we go up. Right, those are in the 40s. $49. Oop. Usually they will spawn fairly quickly. For example, this one's a bit annoying. What we actually want to be targeting is these dodo nests. Which will cause some friends to join in. Fortunately, they are very slow friends. Fortunately, they do very little damage. We're missing a nest somewhere. There it is. When there's a lot of people in the zone, this particular quest and the higher level version at kind of level 51 in the Sea of Clouds is really annoying. But there we go, 69. That takes us to 195. And we'll go and do Trip Fantastic. Right, this is the one with a load of goblins. Oh no, this is the one with a goblin boss. Oh. This might be a little bit more awkward. Again, if you are a squishy, like a thaumaturge or a healer, be prepared to spend a good chunk of time healing yourself in these kinds of fights. As a tank, I might not have a huge damage output, but I can take a beating. Triptychs, cuts and guts. 4 fates with a named mob like this, so-called boss fates or notorious monster fates. It is generally better if you've got multiple people. If you are soloing them, you do want to make sure that you avoid as many of the mechanics as you can, especially any kind of AoEs. There's a ninja sneaking in. That will help us immensely. So you can see it's going a hell of a lot faster, not only because we've got the ninja, but their chocobo as well. And there we go. 103 for that, which takes us to 298. You can see that we get a nice cheapish I can't actually remember where Ffxiv is. Oh yes, he's there. Right, so we need to go up to the aft castle. To the Storm Quartermaster. We need to pick up a Storm Chocobo issuance. And we need to take that. Down to the gate. Talk to Ffxiv. What a bird issues, you say? Then I need to see your Storm Chocobo issuance. Yep, everything appears to be in order. A moment, please. I'll be right back with your Chocobo. And here he is. The fellow's been in high spirits the past few hours. He must have sensed that his master was coming. Now then, to make it official, you want to give your noble steed a name. I seem to recall you can actually change this whenever you want. Must be between 2 and 20 alphabetical characters. Kraken. Oh, he didn't like it. Nope. I dare say he likes his name. Here's your very own chocobo whistle. Simply blow into it and your feathered friend will come bounding to your side. But do forgive him if he doesn't respond when summoned in crowded city areas or monster-infested lairs. Chocobos are stylish creatures, but they have their limits. I.e., they're not stupid. And lastly, I present you with your chocobo rider's license as is required by law. And that concludes all the formalities. I wish you and your chocobo long years of fulfilling companionship. So we use that. You can now summon the chocobo mounts. You can use the chocobo whistle to require the action to summon your personal chocobo. Unlike mental chocobos, there's no time limit regulating how long you can use them. You can set it on your mount bar as I've already done. If you're attacked while on chocobo, your steed may buck you off and run to safety. And you can use barding from this menu here, which is now available. So I can change that to, for example, the Wild Rose barding. Can't remember what that looks like. So that is personal chocobo. And to show him off, let's go and teleport to Horizon, and then we can ride. If I press the right button. There we go. So here we are. Finally, our very own chocobo. And I'll just show off. You can change the heads. Or the bodies. Or the feet. I'm going to stick with the Wild Rose for now. And there we have it. Mission for the day, stroke night, accomplished. It is now 10:06 in the morning. So on that note, it is very much time for bed. We will complete that and then we'll go and do the level 30 quest to allow us to summon Kraken, to release the Kraken in battle in a later episode. But for now, for me and Kraken, who looks really cool, Toodle Pip.